We are looking at circle equations. So let's go ahead and get the general format of a circle equation. It'd be x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals our radius squared, where h and k are the center of the circle, and r is the radius of the circle. Okay, so the way I always like to think about it is these negatives kind of throw me off a lot, so I always think of it as an opposite idea or opposite numbers of whatever we see. So remember, negatives mean opposite. So that's my main idea that I like to use to make these a little bit easier to deal with. Okay, so determine the equation of the circle, and it's going to be graphed below. Okay, so what's the equation here? All right, so I'll just go ahead and rewrite it. X minus h, do you have it memorized yet? Squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. What does this look like? Do you know or remember something that something squared plus something squared equals something else squared? You can kind of remember it looks like the Pythagorean theorem to help you with this. All right. So first thing I think is the easiest thing is where's the center? So it's equal distance from the sides. So that's one way of finding the center is it's in the draw lines from vertically and horizontally, and where they meet at is the center. So where's that point at? The center is, let's see, x is 0, y is -6. All right, so the center is at 0, -6. And then what's our radius? So the radius is from the center to the outside. So we just count 1, 2, 3, 4 units, 4 units to the outside. So we take this information and plug it into this equation. Now, we just plug it directly in. That's kind of the easiest way of doing it. So, but the opposite idea will really help you to kind of simplify it, and you'll see what I mean after we do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So plugging it into this equation. So h is the x value. So there's our h, there's our k, and then there's our radius. All right, so plugging things in, we'd have x minus h is 0, quantity squared, plus y minus -6, quantity squared, and you can have a double parenthesis there if you need it, and 4 squared. Then we want to simplify. This becomes, we don't need that 0, so it's just x squared plus y, negative and a negative make a positive 6, quantity squared equals 16. Now here's that opposite idea that I was talking about. So notice the center is at -6, but in our equation, it says +6. So I always think about when I plug it in, I just change the sign, or when I pull it out, I change the sign. So it's real important that when you have negatives inside your formula, it's kind of a simple mental trick just to think of opposite idea for when you're actually dealing with them. All right, and then that's our answer for these. So that's all there is to it. Plugging it in. Answer, equation of the circle is x squared y plus 6 squared equals 16. Get your plus sign. All right. Let's see if they did anything strange that rewrote the formula. Good. Center and radius, yes. Plugged it in and simplified. Good. They kept the 0 for some reason, but that's fine. Take a look at the next one. Same question, determine the equation of the circle. X minus h. You have it memorized yet? Y minus k equals r squared. All right. What's our center? You can start just estimating it. So that would be at -1, 3. So center, -1, 3. Radius, 1, 2. It's 2. And then we just plug it in. And then if you want, you can use my trick of just the opposites as you plug them in. So that would be x. The opposite of -1 is +1. The opposite of 3 is -3. Radius is 2. Square it is 4. So you can use my last technique of just plugging things in and simplifying, or starting to transition over into plugging it directly into the equation and getting used to how it looks. Either way is fine. I like showing multiple methods. All right. So what was it? X plus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 4. X plus 1 squared y minus 3 squared 4. Okay. Let's see. What did I do wrong? 1, 1, 3. I had a negative sign there. One more time. Will it let me put the answer in? No. Let me just get the right answer. So I accidentally had a negative sign there for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking. So see if you can catch that mistake when we go over it. But it would be x minus 1, the opposite of the x. X minus 3, opposite of the 3, equals 4. X minus 1 squared, x minus 3 squared equals 4. X minus 1 squared, y minus 3 squared equals 4. I had that as a -1. Whoops. Try to be more careful in the future. Everything is okay, though. Just my brain slipped on that one. Whoops. See if the next one's any different. And it's the same style problem. So be careful about how you label these. So my advice to prevent those mistakes in the future is I would mark that as a 7. So you're not just estimating it in your head. I'd mark that as a -1 so you can actually see it. The less you do in the head, the less likely you are to make mistakes.